On this episode of the Bronze Metalist podcast, we talk about Worship Me or Die by Great Cat. Hi, everyone. Welcome to this episode of the Bronze Metalist podcast. I'm Kale.
I'm OJ.
We're two professional broadcasters. We like metal and we like to talk about it. And it's still February as we record, so we're still doing Female February, where we highlight some of the ladies.
This should come out before February's over, shouldn't it? I mean, it's the 24th.
February is a short month.
It is.
So I normally I put episodes out on Wednesdays because I'm lazy.
Oh, wow.
I put the previous episode out right before we start recording.
All right.
Typically, sometimes it's even later because I forget things. But in any case, we take this month to talk about some of the ladies in metal because they don't generally get enough attention.
They don't get enough spotlight.
And so we're talking about Great Cat.
The Great Cat.
Catherine, I cannot remember. Was it Catherine Thompson?
Yes.
Catherine Thompson sort of made a name later on after this doing...
Sorry, Catherine Thomas.
Thomas, there we go. Doing... thrash metal renditions of classical music. She's
Indeed.
a classically trained musician, trained on violin at Juilliard.
Yes.
And then decided, you know what? I'm going to dress up like a dominatrix and start playing some just extremely shred heavy metal and see how that goes. And it went all right for her, I guess. She ended up on Roadrunner eventually, and its last album came out in 2008. This came out in 87.
She released a single in 2018.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I guess I don't think she's done an album in a little while.
Yeah.
But she's 54 at this point.
Sure.
So I don't know, what else. I don't know what she's doing currently.
Probably got another thing going on.
Yeah. Who knows? But my God, we'll talk more about this. This is an album.
It's an interesting pick.
This was definitely an interesting cut for you.
It's very consistent.
Yes, it is.
I'll say it's very consistent.
Yes.
And if I don't know if you listen to any of her later stuff, she found that trick pony and
wrote it.
Yeah.
Kept on riding it.
This is what works well. Everybody loves this. If I did something different, people would hate it. So I'm just going to do that.
It's entirely, hey, do what works.
Sure.
Don't worry. Sometimes you just got to keep on doing what works for you.
How you been, man?
I've been okay.
Yeah.
It's basketball season now.
Oh, yeah.
So thankfully this year is basketball season's a little short for us.
Sure.
At least for the Minot end of things.
Right.
The guys in Botno are doing a lot more games.
Is Les down doing it, or he's in town?
He's in town. He's the games are in town, so he's there.
Region 6.
We didn't get the same guy we had last year. Jim's not doing basketball, but it's a lot of. I think this might be the only week for us, actually.
Really,
unless we might be doing a different tournament for the boys' games, but.
They'll still do them up at Sunny, right?
Yeah, they're still doing them at Sunny, but this might be it for tomorrow night. Might be it for GO. I'm not entirely sure, but in any case, last night I was the only one on the board for. It was only 2 games, which isn't too bad, but also
until when? What time?
I was there from 5:30 to about 9:10.
Damn, are they giving you a comp day?
Not a comp day, but I'm getting paid for it.
Oh, okay.
I'm getting paid live hours for it, so it's fine.
Yeah, I'm sure. What do they pay? Is it $50 an hour?
Yeah.
$70 an hour?
$70 an hour. That's what it is. I'm getting paid. I'm not going to complain too much. And it's not difficult. It's just long.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
And also,
I've been there.
Last year we had so many ads to play, but also our schedule was very tightly regimented. And so it was we knew what was going to play when, roughly speaking. This is very much more loosey-goosey.
Really?
Where it's like, you get to quarter 3 and you've already played pretty much everything you need to play besides like specific post-game sponsors and that sort of thing. But on the other hand, it's just kind of, you have to write out what you're going to play in each break.
Oh, really?
Because you kind of have to keep track of it yourself. We have a sheet of all the things we can play.
But you're not making check marks.
Yeah, it's well, and you have to play at least 2.
Sure.
You're going to play at least 2 of those by halftime. And so the rest of it is just like, I'll play this one, and writing it down, making sure you don't play restaurants next to each other. Sure. You don't play banks next to each other. It's, you have to write things out like that. And I've gotten caught a couple of times writing out my next break, and then Les will throw it to a break in the middle of me writing that, so I don't hear how much time we're going to be gone for.
Back in 60 seconds.
We're going to be back in 90 seconds. And and the thing is, most of the time, a lot of the timeout breaks are 90 seconds, but every once in a while, they're a minute or 30 seconds. And most of the pregame, post-game breaks are 2 minutes. But every once in a while, if Les has talked for too long, they'll be 90 seconds. And I fucked up like 3 times last night.
Really?
Of like, I thought we had another 30 seconds and I hit an ad, and then I hear Sonny come back on the air, because we also have to listen.
It's simulcast.
Yeah, we have to listen to Sonny's stream of it. Because reasons. I came up with an idea where if he had physical room, we could put another codec and mic in front of him, and just because we're already just kind of taking him whenever we're taking him.
Sure.
He doesn't need to listen to us at the same time as Sonny. It's not really going to make a logistical difference. It just means we don't have to rely on the stream on our website, which about once every 50 minutes goes, "Are you still listening?" And if you don't hit yes right away, it just shuts your stream off. So
Someone needs to fix that.
Yeah, I don't know why on a radio app it's like, you're probably not listening to this anymore, because people don't totally just turn the radio on and leave it on and have it on in the background for hours at a time.
Right, they're vigilant with their finger by the button.
Yeah, that's not what people do with the radio when they're listening to it. It's just have it on in the background.
That's never happened.
That totally isn't what happens at my uncle's shop, where he has the zoo on pretty much 24/7.
Really?
Yeah. It's
I guess give some shout outs to your uncle.
He's going to get to hear a lot from me this summer, I guess.
Yeah. What's your uncle's
I'm excited.
name
again? Rick.
Okay.
I'm excited for him to give me lots of shit this summer, because I'm sure he'll be listening to me like, you're playing that stupid shit.
Yeah.
That's kind of how my uncle talks. My uncle kind of talks like a Midwestern version of Boomhauer. A little bit. Like it's getting increasingly difficult to understand him. I think my dad is one of the only ones that regularly speaks Rick.
Yeah.
Because they're brothers, and like,
you know what, Cale? Rick has a point.
Dang on. But yeah, it's getting increasingly more difficult to understand Rick. You'd think the older he gets, the slower he would talk, but in fact, I think it's becoming the reverse.
Really?
He's just talking faster.
Well, isn't he the uncle that always has a beer in his hand?
Just about. Yeah. When he's at the lake, anyway.
Sure.
He kind of Jimmy Buffett's it up at the lake.
And why not? Life is short.
Absolutely. That's the kind of retiree I want to. If I ever get to retire, I'm gonna Jimmy Buffett the shit out of things.
Right.
Which I guess if we were speaking literally, Jimmy Buffetting the shit out of things would be extremely rich.
Yeah, and work extremely hard.
Yes.
Which he sings songs about being at the beach, or, the
man puts in hours.
The man puts in lots of hours.
But then again, you hear him talk, and it's like, if that's a character, boy, he's been playing it well for a very long time. Because you hear him talk in any interview, and he just genuinely seems like he's fucking chilled out 24/7. Like he's got plenty of business acumen and everything, but it's just like he's even doesn't matter what he's talking. Even if he's talking about business, he's like, yeah, and we went and did this thing, and you know what? It was all right. I'm Jimmy Buffett. And it's like he can be having the most professional conversation in the world, and I believe he still sounds like he's about to head out there fucking paddle boarding. Mm-hmm. Like, I like Jimmy Buffett.
Oh yeah.
He's kind of aspirational type of attitude to have, I think. I thought it was kind of sad that Dolly Parton said thanks but no thanks about them putting up a statue of her at the Tennessee State Capitol building. I wanted that to happen.
Yeah, you're right. But I get Dolly, though. I'm lately, over the last year or 2 years, I'm starting to really understand the Dolly I never knew. You know, I mean, I think we're all getting there.
We're all understanding that. So let's make sure we're on the same page about this. That Dolly Parton is someone who does a lot of great work.
Yeah,
is that what that work?
A lot of great. Yeah, okay. I've always known she's fine in movies, and she writes great songs. Has a beautiful voice of an angel,
and just bubbly personality. But she's also just constantly doing a lot of really awesome shit.
Yeah.
Just being a really good person.
A really good, and really one of those really good people, apparently, that, I like being on stage and having an amusement park with my name on it. That's fine, but please don't worship me. I mean,
also, the reason she has an amusement park with her name on it is because people were like losing jobs in her hometown. Like,
yeah, right.
She wanted to create jobs in her hometown. Right. So she just built a fucking amusement park. And Dolly Parton's great.
Awesome.
She's a great lady. I think that was from the Boogie Monster podcast. They were talking about like if we had to choose a representative of our country, aliens come down and like every country send forth a representative to meet with us. At the time Trump was president.
Sure.
Like, don't fucking send him. Send Dolly Parton. Everybody loves Dolly Parton. I'm sure the aliens will too. Like she's a better representative, far better than Donald Trump. But I think that would have been.
I just wonder if ever having experienced the last year or so living in America, America's a great place. But also, I wonder if, she went up to the aliens, she's talking to them. When we come down to our planet, what can we expect? Honey, you don't have to come down.
Just stay up here. That's all right.
This is fine. Just look from up here.
It's a good view. It's a beautiful planet.
Absolutely.
You don't have to, just give us, we gotta freshen up down there. Just give us some time. Gotta go powder our noses, so to speak. Gotta freshen our makeup, Gotta reapply. Just give us about a little 100
years?
About 100 years or so. And if we're not all dead by then, things will probably be good. Yeah. If we manage to survive, 100 years from now, we'll probably be all right. Or it'll be like The Expanse and everything's not better, it's just different.
Right.
It's like everything still sucks, but we also have spaceships.
Sure.
So that's cool, I guess. Spaceships are pretty neat. Railguns are pretty neat. So there we go. That's the future.
What do you think of my friend Big Mike, who died just before the election in November of 2016?
Oh, lucky him.
Yeah. I wish I could tell him, Mike, dude, you're never going to fucking believe what's happened.
You'll never believe what you missed out on. Would he have made a meal of things? You think?
Mike?
Of just like, would he have gotten a kick out of what happened? Or?
Oh, yeah. He loved disasters. He loved shit like that.
Yeah. Imagine being like I'm trying to think of being like a Stephen Colbert, I guess, like that. Uh-huh. I wonder, because I mean, his Late Show has really sort of pivoted back into Colbert Report territory.
Has it really?
And over the last year or so, especially his stuff from home, usually his opening monologue is just, here's shit that happened in politics this week, and I'm gonna do whatever jokes CBS will let me do about it.
Well, but the Colbert Report was him doing a character.
A character, yes, but putting on a lot of obviously being very satirical,
sure,
which oddly some people did not get.
No, they didn't.
But taking the piss out of everyone.
Yeah.
And I can't remember when he left Comedy Central, but I feel like it was right around the time that Trump got elected and went to do the Late Show. And it's like, I kind of wonder if he wished, like, other than probably the pay difference, if he wished he had stayed at Comedy Central so he could say more of exactly what he wanted to say. Because I think CBS is probably has some more things to say about his, what content,
right,
what political
more tighter reins on
is and is not allowed
on their late night programming. If he had his own show, I mean, having a talk show in that time slot is not your own show necessarily. I mean, that's
the who does the network want to give a spot to?
Right. Who are they going to make captain of that ship rather than.
And who do, what guests do they, what guests does the collective media demand beyond late night talk shows this week? Oh, there's this movie coming out, so it's got to be Tom Holland or whoever it's going to be.
Right. Or who was that actor I was just thinking of? I don't remember. Anyway.
David Duchovny. It was everyone's always thinking of David Duchovny. If there's one thing I know about people thinking about actors, it's they're thinking about David Duchovny.
David Duchovny, Why Don't You Love Me? Remember that song, right?
No.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't.
Yeah, it was a song called David Duchovny.
Why Don't You Love Me?
Yeah.
Interesting. By whom?
It's fun. I'm going to say, some teeny bopper in the 90s, and it'll be like something like Britney Spears or some shit. Yeah, well, yeah. But the funny thing, I remember him being in an interview. You know who he's married to, right?
David Duchovny?
Yeah.
No, actually.
Tia Leone.
Oh, okay.
And he actually, in an interview on the radio, I heard him say, "Yeah, I've heard the song, and I think it's great. I'm touched by them thinking I just rewrote it for my house, and it's Tia Leone. Why don't you blow me?"
Oh, Jesus Christ! From notable sex addict David Duchovny. Oh God. What is it that popped into my head there? And it's gone. It just completely lost it. I don't remember what I was thinking about. Oh, something that I forgot to write down. I was going to write it down when I got back from getting beer.
Yeah.
Was just an observation I thought of how weird the name Christian is. Yeah. In a certain context, because I imagine the origin of the name Christian is we have just recently converted to Christianity. We're going to name our child Christian, so everybody knows that we're Christians.
Sure.
And nobody else does that. Buddhists don't name their child Buddhist.
Or Buddhist.
Not Buddha. It's because the thing is, the origin, it's not even a name. It's like someone naming their child heathen or pagan.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Some people I'm sure. Hi, here's my kid, Islam Jamal.
Actually, that does happen.
I suppose
Islam does happen.
Is people have the name Islam?
Yeah.
Do people have the name Muslim?
And Israel is another one. Yeah.
Israel. Yeah. I mean, but Israel is a place. That's still a proper noun.
Yeah.
That's still like a proper noun versus, I don't know what part of speech Christian is.
Christian. That's an adjective.
Yeah, that's an adjective. It's describing something.
Yeah.
So
I know a dude named Christian who I know his parents. His mother is a minister and his father's a teacher, and his Christian's brother used to date my daughter.
Oh, okay, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, and they're very Christian family.
Yes. For a second I was just like, I know someone, their name is Christian, their last name is Vikernes or something like that. I think he changed his name a while ago.
He loves churches.
I think
he's really into architecture.
You know those Nordic stave churches? He really likes those.
He thinks they're
I think
hot.
he goes by Louis now.
Or is it Louis?
Louis. He moved to France.
Yeah.
What was his commute to Notre Dame?
To Notre Dame.
That was like a 7-hour commute from the south of France to Paris.
This was Varg's day, the day Notre Dame caught fire.
God, that was just my entire Reddit feed for like 2 weeks.
Right, and we predicted it, but it was an easy
while
call.
we were watching it on television, the news had just broke, and I was just like, "Hey, look what Varg did!"
Yep.
Tragic. So much history in that beautiful building, and all we can do is make fucking black metal jokes. I guess I don't know how the reconstruction on that has gone, given all the COVID and everything.
Sure, I don't know.
I don't know what condition Notre Dame is in. How's their football season been going?
I think that's different. Notre Dame is in America.
Is college football going on right now?
Yeah, it is. They're still doing it.
I could have swore that
they're having a lot of COVID issues, but they're still doing it.
When does their season normally go into winter and spring? Or I don't know when college football is. When the college football season normally is for Is it football or is it basketball right now? No. Well, there's a Bison game on because I got an ad talking about a Bison game. I don't know when the NCAA season normally is. I don't either. You know what I know about? Metal. Yeah. All right. And so we're going to talk about a metal messiah, so to speak. So Catherine Thomas, metal, as we mentioned, Juilliard trained classical musician, violin player, and also named by Guitar One magazine one of the fastest shredders ever. You could consider her perhaps, especially for the classical influence, a female Yngwie Malmsteen, in a way. I don't know much about her personality, if she was as much of an asshole as Yngwie, but in any case, she would later go on to do lots of metal interpretations of classical music. But this is just her doing some really, really fucking fast and shreddy thrash metal. At times, if it weren't for the vocals, you would be forgiven for thinking it's almost like early grindcore or death metal. Like, some of this is that's from 1987. Yeah, it's late 80s extreme thrash, perhaps you could call it. Where it's sort of on the verge of growing into something else. But then you add in the vocals, to me, feel and the lyrics feel so tongue in cheek that it's like sticking that bulge is sticking way out on the side of the cheek there. And I think, you know what I'm saying. I hear what you're saying. But this is how are you familiar with this?
I saw this in how you go into a record store and you see the CD racks? This is before they had CD racks. Okay. This is when they had, in those racks, they had cassette tapes. And I saw this and I went, what the fuck is this?
What is this?
I must have it.
Who is this woman on the front of it? Was it the same cover that's currently on the digital version? It is. Also, it's difficult to find a photo of this woman where she's not making that face. Yeah. She's got her mouth wide open. Right. And just about even wider in some, like uncomfortably wide in some pictures. Oh, there's one frighteningly looks like blood wide. Coming out. Yeah. She can really open her mouth real wide. This is getting into weird territory. Tongue in cheek. But so what did you think after listening? You said you had to have it, and then I had this. You listened to it, and what were your thoughts?
My thoughts were okay. All right. I mean, it's very formulaic. Yeah. I mean, she's a fast shredder as far as leads go. Yeah. But it's all very Flight of the Bumblebee kind of leads.
Well, I mean, it's interesting you mentioned Flight of the Bumblebee, considering the classical influence.
Yeah, right.
So it's, I can maybe understand. And she shouts the
titles of the song through
many times.
Right.
And it's, people make the whole Cookie Monster joke about death metal, but it popped into my head. I was not a fan of the vocals on this.
Right.
I was not, especially on Metal Messiah, because there are no lyrics on that song.
No.
Well, okay, there are lyric.
Yeah.
There be one lyric. Yeah, there's two words repeated over and over and over.
And if you're wondering what two words he repeats over and over in the song Metal Messiah, the words are Metal
Messiah and repeat. Yeah. That got. I started listening and was like, oh boy, is this going to be the whole thing? It was not the whole. I mean, it was that whole song.
Yeah, that whole song, and then the next song is similar.
Is vaguely there were more lyrics. Sure. There are a couple points where she's like, just the lyrics are
rapid fire
and blasting by, almost again kind of tongue in cheek, hilariously satanic at points.
Oh yeah, I mean those are three subjects. Three subjects on the song. That's it. Is metal and kill some people and Satan
and also there's a fourth subject, which is I'm Cat. I'm pretty awesome.
Okay.
Worship me or die.
That's literally the title of the album.
Yeah, and she, her shtick was essentially dressing up as she had a dominatrix style.
Right.
Was her stage attire,
which only grew and grew over the years.
Yeah. It got sexier and sexier.
Yeah.
If I can tell by the pictures, she leaned more and more into the sex appeal side. She's an attractive woman, but it's just like, let's lean further and further into this. This is, I just, I'm kind of out of words for it, I suppose. I don't really know how exactly I feel about this in the sense that like, wanting to talk about something critically, you kind of have to sometimes disconnect when it is something that's sort of meant to be kind of like, isn't this?
But is it though?
But that's the problem is how tongue in cheek is this meant to be?
I've never really known.
I don't know either. I don't, because it's like, was this somebody who wasn't really that into metal deciding, you know what, I'm gonna start a metal band.
This is really big right now.
And
where the fuck am I gonna play violin? There's nobody hiring a violin.
Pivoting into metal and like, this is what a metal album sounds like, probably. And going for it. Or is it someone going, I really like metal, but I don't want to take things that seriously, so I'm going to make an album that's kind of, parodying some of the things that some of the preconceived ideas people have about metal, that it's all about Satanism and violence.
Sure. And I feel like, if you look at her whole body of work, she can't be taking it all too seriously. If she's playing the classics in thrash metal style, that's very light and fun.
I have to imagine this is meant to be like the instrumentals are it's like Death Clock, for example. Take the instrumentals seriously, but have fun with the lyrics.
Sure. Or Steel Panther.
Yeah, or Steel Panther.
Do you listen to them at all?
No, I have not listened.
You really need to listen to some Steel Panther.
I probably should.
I mean, they're a great band, and then you listen to the lyrics and go, "What the fuck?"
Or like Necrogoblicon.
Oh, sure, they're great too.
Yeah, Necrogoblicon is great. They're really good songwriters, but also they have a song that's just about a magic spider that will grant you a wish. And there's a song about dressing up as goblins and murdering people. Like, it's, we should do another Necrogoblin. Did we do the latest Necrogoblicon album a couple years ago?
I don't think we actually talked about it.
That might have been, maybe Jaron and I did that. It's called Welcome to Bonkers is what it was called.
Yeah.
And the album cover is like this fictional tavern where there's all kinds of crazy creatures.
Sure.
And of course, a goblin.
A goblin.
I really desperately, one time when I was running a D&D campaign, I did a one-off session in the middle of a campaign.
Yeah.
Inspired by the song The Magic Spider. Uh-huh. I didn't play the song. What I wanted in my head, it would have ruined the
aesthetic of it,
the tone I was going for with the game. Mm-hmm. But I desperately wanted to, like, okay, you guys walk into this cave, and up above there are these goblins, and they have these instruments, and one of them starts playing a keyboard, and you hear dun 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 dun, 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 and start playing The Magic Spider, and then a big spider comes out in front of them, and they have to fight it.
Sure.
What did end up happening is they were like in these mountains, and I introduced this tribe of, like, I called them snow goblins.
Yeah.
They were basically Reeklings from Skyrim.
Okay.
There were two tribes of goblins that were fighting each other. One of the tribes of goblins would kidnap the other's sorcerers and sacrifice them to this spider that feeds on beings that have, like, magic in their blood. And so it's a magic spider. And so... they, like, encountered these goblins. One of my players was playing this blue tiefling.
Sure.
And they were blue, and they see this tall blue woman, and they're like, ah! They start, like, worshiping her, basically. And they explain through language barriers that they want to go here and fight this thing. Mm. And on the way back out, on the way in and the way out, all of the goblins they were allied with died. Oh. Also, all of the goblins in the cave, the other tribe, like, they all died hilariously. I put, like, a pitfall in there, and every single fucking one of the goblins fell in the pit. Oh. All of them failed their rolls. They all fell. It was fucking hilarious. That was one of my favorite sessions I DM'd in that campaign. It was just fucking stupid goblin nonsense. Goblins are great. Goblins are my favorite class of monster. I like goblins and bugbears and hobgoblins because there's sort of 3 tiers of fun there. Hobgoblins are fun because they can be kind of comically serious.
Sure.
Goblins are fun because they're just crazy and weird and do crazy shit. And then bugbears are fun because they're big, oafs, essentially.
Sure.
And I can do my orc voice from Warhammer.
You can do your orc voice.
Oi! Where's we going, boss?
That's the voice. I don't use that voice for orcs, ironically. Because
use this voice for orcs. I'm an orc.
Yeah, this is the voice.
Also, all my hobgoblins sound like Werner Herzog.
Of course they do.
I don't know why I decided that, but I decided, like, any hobgoblin character that's important and is going to talk is going to sound like Werner Herzog.
Why not?
I don't know why I decided that, but anyway,
yeah,
great cat. So
yeah,
I
still working.
Do you think this album slaps?
Yeah, it slaps, I guess.
Yeah, it slaps. It slaps. I didn't spend a lot of time looking up a score for this. The only one on their Wikipedia page was All Music, which gave it a 40. Which I think was maybe a bit low, a bit cruel, but I can kind of understand why this wouldn't be someone's cup of tea. It's not really my cup of tea, but I'm willing to be more deferential to it because it's fun.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, I mean, I discovered it at a time where I was discovering 2 things.
Shall we say?
My love for heavy metal.
And your love for the ladies.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
And this is sort of in both of those camps. And I remember thinking, this is not, I mean, even then, this is...
By OJ's 1987 standards.
Yeah, this is cool, okay, but I mean, this is not the best thing I've ever heard.
Yeah,
but it's fascinating.
Yes, it's an interesting work.
Yeah.
And she's an interesting person.
Yeah,
I think. You don't see that many metal musicians that went to Juilliard.
Right.
Like the only other musician I can think of that's reasonably close is Luc Lemay from Gorguts. Having studied at a composing at a conservatory basically
in Canada, right?
Yeah, in Quebec. I believe it was in Quebec.
Quebecois.
What's your favorite song on this album?
My favorite song is it's one of the ones that talks about Satan. It's
Wow, really narrowing it down there.
Yeah, that's down to 2, isn't it? I mean,
that have Satan in the title, I think.
The day Satan when Satan went to church.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Satan Goes to Church is certainly an interesting song.
Yeah, I love that song. I don't know why it's in my head, because she does this like laughter, but it's not like laughter. It's music that's ha 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 ha.
Oh yeah. Yes, now I know exactly what you're talking about. It brings to mind a famous scene from Final Fantasy X, which I haven't played, but I know because it's just a meme of them two characters basically forcing out laughter, and people miss the context that it's not bad voice acting. They're supposed to be forcing out a fake laugh, but people were like, look at this terrible voice acting, and they play the clip of them laughing. It's like, no, they're supposed to be fake laughing. It's supposed to sound funny and weird, but then again, who could imagine bad English language voice acting in a JRPG? who could have thought? It's from the early 2000s, especially.
Even if it was bad, come on.
But in any case, I wrote down "Ashes to Dust" as my favorite song. Sure. That song gave me a lot of Slayer vibes. Okay, sort of the drums in and out reminded me of "Raining Blood," and I was just like, this is the one that sticks out to me the most. That's okay. I'll go with that. I liked it. It was atmospheric for a change. And then the vocals kind of came in and went back to, regularly scheduled sort of confusion on my part of like, what is this supposed to be? I don't know what this is supposed to. I don't know what she's going for. So I'm confused. But somebody tell me what to think.
Here's what I think.
That's the worst thing I think you can say as someone who talks about art, is wanting someone to tell you what to think, but I wanted that.
I think it took a lot of ovaries to make this fucking album.
What do you mean?
I mean, I'm saying, well, to actually make this coming right out of school.
Oh, someone just kind of going for something they were not yet really able to pull off.
Not able to pull off and making it this much of a vanity project.
Like a student film that's too overly ambitious.
Yeah.
Okay, I get what you mean now.
Yeah, she really had to have some stones to make this.
Yeah, no, and I think also just leaping head first and going all in on like, I'm gonna do metal now.
Yeah,
that's especially as a woman doing that in the late 80s. Yeah, just going, I'm going to make a metal band that's all about me. Fuck you guys.
You can't do that. I can't. Fuck you.
Fuck everybody. This metal band has got my name on it, and it's gonna be me. And you know what? I go Cat. Yeah. I won't worship her, but Yeah. So I guess I'll have to die
eventually.
Is that the subtext there? Is that it's worship me or die eventually?
Yeah.
He'll die eventually.
Worship me or I'm not saying that worshiping me is going to grant you immortality. What I am saying
is, worship. It could also be worship me and die.
Worship me,
because you will anyway,
and or die. Yeah.
No matter what, death comes for us all, like that ghost in Skyrim told me.
Sure.
Death comes for us all.
I stopped playing I was playing Skyrim again. I stopped playing recently because I wanted to play Spider-Man. But I had just gotten to the point where I was because I hadn't beaten the DLC in Skyrim.
You never did Dawnguard and Dragonborn.
Dragonborn. No, I never did them. Well, I mean, I sort of started them both a little bit, but I didn't get very far.
Okay.
But I just started actually the Dragonborn DLC.
I like the Dragonborn. I like both. I like Dawnguard as well.
Yeah.
My only problem with Dawnguard is the actual Dawnguard parts are fucking boring.
Really?
Like every second that you're in that castle is just, to me, like skull-numbingly boring.
Yeah.
And it's like, Serana, can we just go on an adventure, please? And then you go do the whole thing in the Hidden Valley with the
ranch.
Snow, the Hidden Valley Ranch.
Yeah.
The snow elves and the two dragons under the ice and everything. And like that part is really interesting to me. And all the Falmer all over the place and everything.
Really?
Like that stuff is interesting.
Falmer all over the place?
Yeah, there's ton in like the last
caves, I suppose. There's vampires.
Yeah, so. in the last hat. Well, I don't want to spoil things for you if you ever end up going in there, but all the parts. I think playing as a vampire is more interesting because the vampires are just interesting characters because they get to be kind of fun and sort of flamboyant because that's what people expect out of vampires.
So once you become a full vampire, I've never done that in the games, become a full vampire. Can you ever go back?
Yeah.
So you can get cure disease.
Yeah, you can. There's a guy you can go talk to who cure disease won't work on you after it's progressed all the way.
Okay. So like going to an idol or going to a
there's a
statue.
A Stendar worshiper I think you can go talk to.
Is he an orc?
No.
He's not an orc?
He's not an orc.
He's not an orc.
No, there's some, I think he's a red guard actually, but there's a guy you can go talk to who tells you how to cure yourself, which I think involves a black soul gem. So you actually have to kill somebody, but it's in the context of what you actually do in Skyrim and the resources that seem readily available to most people. So it's like this, why, it seems in almost every other fiction where there are vampires, it's super difficult to cure vampirism. And in Skyrim, it's just kind of like, yeah, take this gem and go do a ritual and you're fine. You can go get reinfected and then come right back over here. I think if you do that, he actually makes a comment like, really, again?
But for a moment there, you almost made him sound like he was deep dish Chicago. It was,
hey, how you going?
Dad, you come back over here.
Come get your deep dish pizza. Because at any point, there's the vampire companion, voiced by Laura Bailey. But you at any point you can ask her to make you a vampire, and she's like, seriously? Okay, whatever, and makes you a vampire, a vampire lord. That is because there's the regular vampires in the game, and you get regular vampirism, and you can bite people, and you have a couple new spells that you get, and you're vulnerable to fire. But vampire lords get to like do a whole big transformation where you have like these shriveled bat wings. It's like the werewolf thing, the werewolf transformation.
Which I have found every time I've played Skyrim, the werewolf transformation to be virtually useless.
Yeah. There's they added level up components to it with Dawnguard. It's because the Vampire Lord also gets a skill tree where you can upgrade it so it's actually useful. And you can do that with the werewolf stuff too. In the base game without the DLC, you get to a certain point where it's like there's no point in turning into a werewolf anymore. There's no point in it.
I have legendary armor and sword, and if I turn into a werewolf, it's just me going and then dying shortly.
In my playthroughs, like the only reason you do it is because the companion's storyline mandates that you do it at least once.
Right.
And then you go and cure your lycanthropy, and that's the end of it. I really like the Dragonborn DLC. Lots of Lovecraftian kind of stuff in the Dragonborn DLC because it all has to do with
Hermes Mora, the Daedric Prince of Secrets.
And a funny voice.
And ash monsters
and all kinds. What's that fucking island called? Solstheim. That's also, I really love how they brought back new versions of the Morrowind music because I haven't played Morrowind, but I love the soundtrack. There's just something really, really relaxing about the main theme for Morrowind is just like really pleasant. It's really, really pleasant. And that's sort of the vibe that carries through for the Dawnguard specific soundtrack in the game. Not the Dragonborn. They both start with D. Then there's Hearthfire, where you just build a house.
Sure. There was a video on the internet. It was a demonstration of somebody. I can't remember what the demonstration was. I just remember that they had the music was the music that often pops in right after you fight an intense battle. But in Skyrim, it was Skyrim music, and I've heard this for literally thousands of hours, this music.
Yeah.
And so all I could hear was the damn music. So I had to leave a comment saying, I used to be an adventurer like you.
Till I took an arrow to the knee. No, you have to do a cheesy Scandinavian accent.
Well,
OJ.
I couldn't do that in typing.
Okay.
I was typing a comment.
All right. I'll forgive you for that one. You have to do your best impression of what you think a Scandinavian accent sounds like.
Being someone who's probably never heard a Scandinavian person speak.
I don't think any of the VAs on that were
Scandinavian belongs to the Nords. What the hell accent was that?
The guy who they got to voice Ulfric Stormcloak is Ukrainian, I think, or Russian. I can't remember his Vladimir Kulinov, I think, is Kulov or something like that.
Yeah, he's always angry, and then he has to go somewhere.
He's a huge dude. He looks like Ulfric, basically.
Really?
He was on the first season of Vikings, and one of my favorite characters who also dies 6 episodes into the series. But he's he's like 6. I can't remember how tall he is. He's very tall and has this. I mean, you heard him talk as Ulfric. He has an extremely deep voice.
You know what I always think is really weird if you're playing Skyrim and then you have a lot of little side quests and extra stories and different things that involve Windhelm, but you allied with the Imperials and you destroyed, the Stormcloaks, and you go back to Windhelm and everybody is sitting
still
at a table
on fire.
Yeah.
I hate that. I like that's one of those Bethesda things where it's like I hate after doing the Imperial. Like I saved the Civil War quests for last because I don't want because no matter what you do, no matter what you do. Whiterun gets fucked up. Right. It's like, I don't want Whiterun to look like shit for the rest of my playthrough.
Exactly. This is where Liddy and the kids live now.
Yeah. It's I always go with it's been so long. I actually can't remember. No, it's a dark elf chick. At the Drunken Huntsman. She's a mercenary there.
Yes.
And she's one of the only companions that dual wields by default, which means if you give her like really awesome swords, she just deals an insane amount of damage. She only levels up to a certain point. Janessa is her name. She only levels up to a certain point, unfortunately. There is a follower that you get in the Dragonborn DLC who's Skal, Blood Skal. They're a Nord offshoot.
Nice.
Or not Blood Skal's it. She's just a Skal. In any case, she also dual wields by default and also levels up all the way with your character, which only like a couple companions do. Wow, that was a big tangent about Skyrim. We were done talking about the album anyway.
Were we? All right.
Other than what medal are you bestowing upon this, like Maskanata to Chewbacca?
I'm going to generously give it a silver medal.
I'm also generously.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's that generous.
It's good. I mean, it's very good. It's well recorded.
It's not bad.
No, it's not.
But in my opinion, I wouldn't give it a gold, but it's a silver. Yeah. I reserve bronze for things I actively hate, generally speaking, which is
like Celtic Frost.
Yeah. Did I give Celtic Frost a bronze?
You did.
I'm pretty sure I must have.
Maybe Into the Pandemonium wasn't the place to start with.
Maybe.
Celtic Frost. It was a very experimental album.
But I guess maybe... Okay, I give a bronze to things I do not like. Things I actively hate will get a do not place.
Yeah.
Which have we gave that to a movie? Didn't we give that to the Fanatic? Did we give the Fanatic a do not pass?
Yeah, that's a do not pass.
Or do not place. Do not pass go. Do not collect
$200.
John Travolta, do not collect $200, which I'm sure that's all Fred Durst paid you.
I saw a video recently with Fred Durst walking down a grocery store aisle. And
was his cart rolling?
It was, but they didn't go there. It was just him, and he looks like an old man now. He's 50-something Fred Durst, and he had a hat on, and he looked kind of broken down, pushing his cart down the aisle. And this woman said, "Excuse me, are you Fred Durst?" He said, "It depends on who's asking. What do you want?" And she said, and I don't speak fluent Spanish, something like that. He said, "Oh, pineapples, aisle 2." And they kept walking
there.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
Fred. So I wrote down next week with a colon after it. And then I didn't write anything because I got distracted by something and didn't figure out what I want us to listen to next week.
And we're doing Not Metal March?
Yeah, next week will be our first March episode. Did we listen to No Closer to Heaven, Wonder Years album? I feel like we did their acoustic albums.
We did Greatest Generation
in September. We did Greatest Generation last year sometime.
Something Cities,
and we did Sister Cities.
Yeah.
We did Sister Cities last year, and then first Non-Metal March we did Greatest Generation. So I think we could do. Maybe I want to save it for later on this month.
Dude, it's up to you, man.
I'll figure it out.
All right, mystery week.
Mystery week. Yeah, I don't know if I want to do the Wonder Years just yet. I want to see if I want to find something slightly less predictable from me. Because it's a non-metal month, of course. I'm going to bring the Wonder Years.
Right.
Because I'm an emo kid at heart.
What we need to do is we need to at some point binge watch a season of
the Wonder Years. I don't think they're quite the same thing. Marilyn Manson denies playing bass in the Wonder Years. I haven't gotten bothered to look up all the details of the shit he's in lately.
Yeah. Turns out he's an
creep?
abusive creep. Yeah.
Who would have thought Marilyn Manson was a creep?
Weird.
Just pouring myself a beer.
Yeah, go for it, dude. We're all silent. Let's
just watch that pour. That's a nice, I wanted there to be a
good
nice
head.
Yeah. Oh, tongue in cheek.
All right.
So until whenever our next episode comes out and whatever that is that we end up talking about, you can subscribe to our Facebook. That's not what you do.
No.
You follow our Facebook page or our Twitter.
Ascribe. You can ascribe.
You can ascribe. Yeah. Ascribe anything you like to us. Don't do that.
No.
We're also on Twitter, and we'll post links to new episodes when they come out. That way, if you want like notifications or if you want to listen in your browser, there's a easy, convenient link to do that there. Otherwise, we are on your podcast app on your iOS device, or we're on the podcast source via Libsyn on your Android. And till you hear from us again, thanks very much for listening.
Indeed.
To the Bronze Metalist Podcast. I'm Cale.
I'm OJ.
Congratulations.